Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Pixie here. Gonna look at the camera today. Just recording another vlog. Um, I wanted to kind of get stuck into something, and I kind of want to do a bit of a mini series here. That deals with what the various staff here at DWAI actually do, and what it also takes to take on that particular position if you're looking for. I mean, some positions like team coordinator and so forth are already filled, but then there are of course things like a team manager below that person, and also just various event staff. There's a lot of staff that we do actually need in a lot of areas, and I kind of just wanted to run over what it's like to do those sorts of jobs in DWAI, and hopefully through that you can kind of get a grasp of what it would take if you wanted to become staff. One of my big reasons for deciding to do this actually is I noticed last YOLO Q, I definitely got the sense that a lot of people didn't quite, I don't want to say didn't quite appreciate, because I definitely believe that people appreciate the work that gets done here, but I don't think it's obvious actually how much a staff member does when they go into an event to run an event. Sorry, I should actually say this first episode of this little mini series is going to be dealing with event staff. I'm going to go through all the other different divisions like coaching, and I also mentioned teams, some stuff under casting as well. That'll probably be a bit less detailed, and I might link that into the team stuff, and we'll also touch on that today with events. But yeah, I felt that a lot of people didn't quite grasp how much exactly goes on, and you can definitely understand that as well, because when you come into the DWAI Raidcall, when you see the event get going, basically enough people enter the channel, then whoever's running the event runs over the rules and says, "All right, let's get started." Let's say it's draft night, teams get put together, the matches get arranged, and the game gets going, and it doesn't actually seem like all that much. Now, I know that the people around DWAI aren't stupid. Like, I'm not calling anyone stupid. Like, you're well aware that there is more stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So I just kind of wanted to shed some light on exactly what is going on behind the scenes. First things first. Generally, the head of events, so the events coordinator, which in North America is Decavulti, in Oceania, the position the position is actually open right now. Our last guy, Blue Pandatron, actually quite recently stepped down. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a big loss. I feel like I've been dumped. But yeah, it is a position actually that's open right now. But that person anyway, they have tabs on all the events that are running. They know exactly when everything is, and they tend to be the people that sort out the promotion for stuff. Now, maybe it comes to like Thursday night, and Decker's like, "Shit, I haven't. You didn't hear that word, by the way." Decker definitely doesn't say those bad words, but he might suddenly go, "Oh, I haven't put out any promotion for draft night." And draft night tends to not need heaps of promotion because it's quite a staple event here at DWAI. But in any case, he might go, I not around my computer, and like send a message on his phone on Facebook and ask whoever's running the event to say, hey, can you just pop something up on the DWAI page to remind people that this is running? But in any case, he'll be aware of that, and he'll organize any promotion that needs to be done for that. So if you're just the events person for that night, you don't actually have to worry about that side. But what you really should be doing is checking any promotional posts. That's really the first thing. You want to make sure you're checking the promotional posts for a couple of hours beforehand, answering any questions that might pop up there. That's something I get a lot more, I think, in Oceania than happens in North America, because I tend to promote on a lot of external pages and in places that aren't DWAI. So I'll have a lot more people asking questions like, oh, what are the ELA restrictions like? What's the raid call channel again? Like, what time do I have to be on? What time does it start? I might be 10 minutes late. Will that be a problem? How long does it run for? All sorts of questions. So that's really your first thing. You want to make sure everybody is clear on what's going on, because we like bringing new people into DWAI, and we like being able to share our events with people because we take pride in our events. You're not going to put in all this work for something if people don't get to appreciate it. Uh, so that's quite important. You want to make sure that anybody who's coming in for the first time is dead clear on what's going on. You want to greet everyone as they're coming into the raid call channel. You're going to be on the channel at least an hour before the event starts, ideally earlier. I mean, sometimes when you have tight scheduling, it can be a little bit difficult to get on that far in advance, but that aside. The next thing is you need to make sure your streamers and your casters are all set and ready to go. And that'll all be sorted out by the casting division. Again, that's something the Decavolti will have handed across. He goes, okay, here's the events for this week, and Pink Rambo, head of casting, will go, all right, casters, you sort it out. And then she puts everything down on the casters page, and this actually also includes the team scrims. She puts it all down on the casters page, goes, we need casters for these events at these times. We might want a dedicated streamer for this one. I don't know if that's actually happened, but that is something that might end up cropping up on the casters page. And the casters sort of organize themselves and go, like, they'll come forward and go, oh, okay, well, I can do this and this and this and this and this. And somebody else might go, all right, well, I can do this and this and this and this. And you need a color caster and a play-by-play caster for each and every event and scrim that goes on. So that's quite a challenge for the casters to sort out. But when it comes to draft night, they'll ideally be casters there already. Like, you'll have casters sorted out. If you don't, that's a priority. You need to get whatever casters, whatever streamers you need, and you need to make sure they're ready, which means sometimes people haven't streamed very much. Sometimes they need to change some of their streaming settings. Sometimes, somebody comes forward and like, all right, well, I need to check your stream quality, and you have to go through, get them a stream key. Okay, all right, you can get your stream running. Hold on, there's a problem with the upload. Oh, have you tried this? Have you looked for a solution? You might want to Google the problem. Okay, I've got it sorted. All right, let's look at the stream. Okay, that quality is good. All right, cool. We don't have any lag issues? No, that's great. And then you've got a streamer ready. But that whole process takes quite a chunk of time. So that's another thing you have to deal with on top of that. While this is all going on, you're also going to be bombarded by two things. And bombarded might not be the right word, but it definitely captures what it can feel like sometimes. Your other duties around DWAI, this isn't as true for people who are just purely events. It's more true for, say, someone like myself. When I come on to Raidcall, if I'm running an event, then I'm going to be running the event, but I'll also quite likely have other staff members contacting me, asking me things, or I might need to contact a staff member to ask them about something. There's other work that I still need to do around DWAI, and that's sort of the time I have on Raidcall, so I have to try and cram that all in while I'm running the event. The other big thing, and this is something anyone running an event will get, is of course questions from participants, because there might have been questions on the promotional page, but you're still going to have people up in the Raidcall channel asking you stuff. What time does it start? Do you think we have enough people? Do I need to bring anyone in? If I have a friend, am I allowed to play on the same team with them? Why has everybody got their name changed like this? What are the rules? Are you going to go back over the rules? I wasn't here for that, and all sorts of stuff like that. All right. There is one thing that is true of every single event, and I've yet to run or see an event being run that has somehow managed to not have this happen. And again, I excuse my French in advance here, but there's always a fuck up. Something goes wrong. When you go into an event, you really have to have the mindset that something is going to go wrong, and it is my job to deal with it. And when you have that mindset, when that thing pops up, first of all, it's not as surprising, so it's not going to throw you off hugely. You're not going to panic about it. You're going to be a lot clearer when you're thinking about how to solve the problem. And who knows what it might be. It could be, hold on, this whole team is from the wrong region. All right, what are we going to do? All right, well, I've actually got to talk to them. I've got to console them. I've got to say really sorry that this has happened, because it is. It's a big, unfortunate misunderstanding when something like that happens. And it's kind of a shame, because there's, a team's worth of players, 5 people who are really excited to play an event, presumably, and are now suddenly getting told that they can't, because, most likely the staff made a fuck up. Now, it might have been that they made a mistake, that they didn't realize it was the wrong event, but in any case, you take it upon yourself. Look, guys, I'm really sorry that this has happened, but this is for North America. You guys are Oceanic. This is when the Oceanic draft night is, and you guys are more than welcome to join in that. Stuff like that. Maybe that's what goes wrong. Maybe the streamer just disconnects, disappears. You need to find another one. You've got 5 minutes left until you really want to be starting. You don't want teams to be waiting around. What are you going to do? Are you going to get everybody but the team that's being streamed to go? Well, then the team that's being streamed is going to be, they're going to finish later than everyone else. Everyone else is going to have to sit around in the channels for ages, just waiting for this one team to finish. Are you able to find somebody else who can stream, immediately? How quickly can they get set up? Something always goes wrong, and you have to be able to think on your feet when that thing goes wrong. Moving on from that, though, because I can't... if I went into detail of all the things that could possibly go wrong, I would sit here for hours. And, you guys don't want that. But the other thing that's going to be happening is you're going to be getting some complaints. Well, actually, hopefully you're not getting any complaints. But if you do get complaints, you've got to know how to deal with them. And, there are certain ways you want to go about that, of course. Again, I don't want to go into huge detail for that, because there's kind of different ways you might respond to all sorts of complaints. But you might have people saying like, hold on, I think this guy's a smurf, or this is taking too long, come on, get your shit together. I'm swearing like a sailor here. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I've been much worse before, but I'll just put a language warning on this video. There's all that sort of stuff, but anyway, the actual running of the event itself, again, I use the example of Draft Night, because that's sort of our most common, it's a staple event. You got to get the teams together, you got to get the matches going, you've got to make sure everybody's clear on the rules. And there are going to be some people who are AFK, who aren't listening, so it's often good to just recap some particular things as they come up. So when you're going through, the channels while people are drafting and people are like, all right, yeah, who do you want to draft in next? Just remember, you can only have one more gold player on your team. Then it has to be silvers and bronzes for the rest of your team. Okay, cool. All right, who do you want? It's stuff like that. Like, you got to make sure everybody knows what's going on. That's pretty important. Get the matches going. It can be surprisingly harder than you'd think. Okay, you guys are playing, you guys call the match this, the password needs to be this, make sure that it's this game time. Now, people tend to be quite good, and people who opt to be captains have generally been in Draft Night before, so they kind of get the structure. That's a little bit easier often, but you still have to coordinate that, and when you're pushing 8+ teams, it can be quite a challenge organising at least the first round of that, and then also when you get to, say, the second round, you've got to say, all right, well, we are going to be having a match for third and fourth, so please don't leave. You've got to get those matches going. Once you've got that going, you can relax. You can relax for however long that match takes. Maybe you want to watch the stream, keep Raidcall open, because you are going to be getting messages. There's going to be other things going on. Maybe a player disconnected and you'll have a message saying, can you move this guy back down into our team's channel, please? You've got to constantly be paying attention, because if that guy's out of the channel for 5 whole minutes, that could be, their jungler that somehow isn't, it's quite obvious how, but suddenly isn't able to communicate with the rest of his team. There's, of course, other admins around on Raidcall often, so if you do miss something like that they can sort out, then they can do that as well. But you want to be the guy that sorts it out, because you're there to do that. That's your job. People are going to be going to you because you're running that event. If there's something to do with the event that you need to do, then get to it. Make sure you're ready. Make sure you make sure you're ready. Make sure you're there. Yeah, so you're going to be dealing with that while the matches are going on. When it's done, again, you want to make sure that people kind of know what's going on with tournament structure, whatever's going on. For YOLO queue, actually, what we ended up doing, we had a bracket that we put up on the stream. Now, I don't know if everybody was watching the stream, but in any case, we'd go through the channels and we'd say, all right, you guys are playing these guys, you're playing these guys for this place match. If you win this match, then you go on to this round. If you lose this match, you're down into the losers bracket. You still have another chance, and you'll play either one of these two people, or if you lose this match, I'm sorry, but you'll be knocked out. But if you win this, you have a chance to get to the semi-finals and stuff like that. Everybody needs to be clear on what's going on, which means you're going to go through a lot of channels repeating some very similar things, and you've got to be paying attention to what you are saying, unlike what I'm doing a lot of right now. But you really do have to be paying attention, because if you say the wrong thing to the wrong team, you're going to cause a lot of confusion, and that person, what if that team goes on to lose a match, and you're like, sorry, you've been eliminated, and they're like, well, hold on, I thought we were dropping down into the losers bracket because you hadn't explained it right. You're suddenly going to go, oh god, did I say that? And you're going to look like an idiot. You're going to make DWAI look a little bit sloppy, even if that's, not exactly the case, but it does, it reflects badly on us, and the team's going to go, well, this kind of sucks, like, suddenly we're out. We thought we had another chance. That's not really cool. And nobody's going to walk away from an event like that going, that was great, I'm going to come again. So, you've got to stay on the ball the whole time. And when these events go quite long, the Oceanic YOLO queue ran for 9 hours. That was, quite a long drawn out event. Didn't finish up until about 2 in the morning my time. It can be a bit difficult to stay on the ball for that long. But in any case, if you're running Draft Night, it's maybe 3 or 4 hours. It's not as strenuous time-wise, but it can still be a bit of a challenge, because it is a bit late at night. But anyway, you basically just rinse and repeat that whole thing of running the matches, and if there's a ringer that's needed, you've got to try and bring somebody in. What I tend to do is I say, all right, if we don't have anyone in the ringers channel, I go, all right, do you guys have anyone? All right, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to find somebody to bring on, make sure it's a similar elo, so on and so forth. Then I'll set you guys up and get the match going. I'll make sure the other team knows what's going on, because, to put it simply, I'm not always going to be able to find a ringer. Odds are I've already got in touch with everybody on my friends list saying, hey, do you want to play in Draft Night tonight? And they've either come back and said yes, and they've played already, or they've said no, so they're not going to be available or don't want to play for whatever reason. I actually don't really get much of that ever. Maybe it's sort of like, I'm duoing with a friend or I'm out tonight. I don't actually think I've ever had somebody say, no, I don't like draft night, I don't want to play in draft night, which I view as a positive thing. But moving on from stroking my ego there, you got to sort out ringers between matches, make sure everything's balanced again. Maybe you'll get some more complaints, who knows? Maybe that's when your fuck-up's gonna pop up. Maybe it's not going to be at the beginning, when you've still got a whole bunch of people. Maybe it's going to be just before the final, and everybody's really tired, and these two teams have duked it out, and they're trying to win, they've finally got all the way there, and you're like, hold on, we've got a problem, one of the casters has to go to bed, we're just going to try and see who else we can get, and then the match doesn't start for another 20 minutes. That might be the thing that goes wrong. Like I said, you never know when that's going to happen, but you're going to have to deal with that. And it's, like I said, it's going to be getting late, you're going to be getting tired, and suddenly the work is still not done. You thought you're on the home stretch, but no, here's a speed bump. And once that's all done, so you've finally gotten to the end of the finals, you've done your best of 3, you've played your 3rd and 4th place match as well. Your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th teams, and also while other teams are leaving, you go through, you thank everyone. At the end of the whole event, you've got to put a smile on your face. Well, you might not put a smile on because it's Raidcall, people can't see you, but you get happy and you go around and you thank everyone for coming. This is the easiest part for me. I have to say, this is always the easiest part of an event for me, because it doesn't take much for me to get happy about an event. The way I see it, it's just, we've succeeded again. We've dealt with whatever went wrong, and I appreciate that people actually came along. It's easy for me to go into a channel and say, it's a real shame you guys didn't make it. You played so hard. That was such an intense match to watch. Whatever I end up saying, thank you so much for coming up. I really hope you guys come, turn up for other draft nights. Maybe you'll win. Just thank you guys so much for turning up. And I guess that's easy for me to say, and it's going to sound really cheesy, but it's easy for me to say because I do genuinely believe that. I genuinely want to thank these people for turning up. Not because I've put in all this work for it, but because I guess I get a kick out of people enjoying stuff to do with a game I'm passionate about. I like seeing other people have a good time when they're playing it, and I like that I can provide that good time for them because I know how much I enjoy having a good time when I'm playing the game, and it feels good to be able to provide that experience for someone else. So going around and thanking somebody for turning up, I find that quite easy. And sometimes it can just totally turn your day around. Like, I remember I've had times before I was actually staff when I played at the North American draft night, and somebody would say, thanks at the end of the night, thanks to everyone who played, whether or not you made it, just thanks very much for turning up and being a part of this event here. And it doesn't seem like much. It's such a little thing to say, and it really can mean quite a lot. It's like, yeah, now I want to come back, because they're not here to just care about the winners. I mean, great, a team wins, but a team always wins. A team wins every week. What matters is that every week, even when people don't win, they still want to turn up, and they still love turning up. I've kind of lost my train of thought here, if I'm perfectly honest, but I really hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And really, that's the general recap of it all. I don't want to dissuade people from becoming staff, because it is super rewarding at the end of the day. Like I said, you get to create for someone else the experience that you have previously enjoyed. Like, it's a great feeling to be able to do that, to be able to, I don't want to say give back, because you didn't exactly take anything from the community, and we definitely don't think of the community as taking from us as admins. We provide this for you because we want to provide it. But it is super rewarding stuff, and it's great to do. So I really hope this video has offered some insight. Maybe, you thought about being event staff before, and now you're like, yeah, I really want to try it. Maybe you thought about it before, and now you're like, jeez, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to do that at all. Maybe you've never even thought about it before, and now you're suddenly going, actually, I think I could do that. But in any case, thanks everyone for watching and listening to me ramble again with my wet hair. I just had a shower, I'm nice and clean. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'm Pixie. I'll see you later.